Hello all. Welcome to Visuara AI Labs present Machine Learning in Production Lecture 6. Today we'll be continuing our topic Communication and Logistics of Project. This is part 2. If you have not come across part 1, I recommend you to watch lecture 5 and then come back for the continuation of the topic. What are we gonna cover in this lecture? So, we'll be covering soliciting feedback from cross-functional team to ensure project health. We'll see how to conduct research, experimentation, and how to develop a prototype so that risk is minimized. In the last lecture, what basically we have studied is why DS project struggles to gain adoption. And we always have been focusing on the topic that why are we building this is much more important than how are we building this. This has been our continuous quote that we are continuing from lecture 1 to lecture 5. And this you need to keep in mind as well. And then we had a brief introduction about communication and how one should define problems. Now let us start. Before starting, I would like to inform you that might make you feel happy that we are about to wind up the theory part of this series. Now onwards, we'll move to the core tenets, that is developing, deployment, and then evaluation, in which we'll start the coding. We will start to know how to use GitHub, how to implement code in excellent way, what are the different coding practices, and we'll see the live demonstration of all of them. That's why this would be probably last second lecture of the theory part, and now onwards we might have one more theory lecture, or else the next lecture would be theory 30 minutes and 30 minutes coding. Now onwards our practical aspect of this lecture series will increase, and therefore stay tuned for the next lecture as well. But this theoretical foundation was equally very important so that your thought process gets developed with respect to the business requirement, not with respect to a high school or college exams, because that exams have a orientation, that exams have a goal of CGPA as well. But in real world, we have to focus on the business requirements and applying knowledge there. So these both are very important. So theoretical part has been covered with respect to understanding the business. And if someone has this course in their university, this theoretical part might help there as well. But from next lecture, we'll definitely have a practical part in our lecture series. Now, let us understand the communication first approach. In a ML project life cycle, you should have a communication first approach. Every time communication is a key. This is like we have been repeating thousands of times till now. And trust me, this is something we forget, we hesitate. That's why I need to keep you remind that communication first approach should be there for the ML cycle. Now let us understand this using Zomato's personalized food discovery engine. These are some hypothetical cases we are taking. Since everyone is aware about Zomato, probably in India, but someone from the outer part of the India who is not aware about Zomato. So I would like to just inform you that this is online food delivery app where across city you have different restaurants and you choose which dish you have to order from that restaurant, and that is what the Zomato is famous for. Probably widely used in India, and this is one of the leading food delivery app. So we'll understand what if I was a person in Zomato who wants to make a personalized food discovery engine or a personalized food recommendation engine, then how the communication first approach would be there from my side for each milestone and what steps I need to carry down. That's why we'll have experimental update meetings, then SME prototype review, then development progress review, then minimal viable product review, then user acceptance testing and feedback loop, and then pre-production review. Now let us understand the first point, that is experimental update meeting. Is our dish recommender even working? Let us open Zomato's website. Note down 1, 2, 3 points that you can select. Basically, I live in Pune. And what I get first is check out best food places to eat in Pune. So Pune is like a good developed city, and that's why the Zomato is quite popular here. Probably, if I could live in a village where Zomato delivery system is not available, and from there, if I could search Zomato, then I don't think the first thing that I would be get recommended would be check out best food places to eat in suppose some small village. That village name would come because Zomato is not available there. So this might be one of the red flag that either I want to have Zomato's setup in the new village, we want to expand it there. Or if someone is searching Zomato and has location to village, the nearest town or nearest district where the Zomato is present, that places might be the most recommended one. So this is how I am able to find out some red flags here. And that's how I'll improve my model, and I'll keep this point in mind while having meetings. So let us just open the Zomato website, and you have some top trending spots, Sky, High Sips, Finest Microbreweries, and what are the new one in the Pune. So Zomato DS team explores a prototype to suggest a dish based on time of day and mood. Let us see what are some algorithms that are used in the recommender system. In recommendation system, we have collaborative filtering, content-based filtering, and which are in Zomato. Let's see. So Zomato utilizes variety of algorithms, including content-based filtering, collaborative filtering, hybrid approach. So now, as we saw, these are the algorithms that are used. So as a Zomato, I'll prototype, I'll explore algorithms, and I'll suggest the prototype that suggests me the dish according to the based on the time of day and mood. For example, I would just like to give a one stereotype that have changed now, but basically in India we have poha or upma as a breakfast. So we have the popular Indian breakfast, as you can see. So if I am searching about the dish around 9, 9:30 or 10 a.m., then I should get recommendations for poha and upma restaurants. So these are my Indian breakfast options. Now, if I want to eat ice cream in general, and we prefer sometimes to have it in evening, not in day basically. So if I want to search for ice cream, then I can just search which are the nearby ice cream parlors. So this should be recommended at night. So if I am not at 9 a.m., if I am searching for a food at 9 a.m., so my this page should have poha upma, not ice cream. But if I'm searching on 9 p.m., then I can have ice cream, cheesecake on this page. So this is how the recommendation system should suggest me food items. And that's why we should discuss only top level progress and we should not go into the maths of the algorithm. Suppose if you want to go to collaborative filtering mathematics. So if you try to explain this to the business stakeholders, they might not be interested in listening to this. They would ask, please query in this website and show us. They'll ask you to search for poha and they might see which restaurants are recommended over here. So you get the restaurants which are delivering the best pohas probably. So they're not interested in this maths part. So that's why we should raise the red flags early, like poor results in low data cities or failure to differentiate versus lunch and dinner cravings. That's what I discussed before. That by mistake it should not recommend ice cream in the morning instead of poha. Next is SME prototype review. That would a food lover find this dish useful? So, as a product and marketing team, I will test a mock up of personalized dish carousels. So we'll also ask, do we have labels like cuisine type or dish occasion, like breakfast, lunch? And if it is, we'll answer yes, we can group. And if answer is no, then we'll say no, we need CNN to classify. And let's have a demonstration. So this is all live demonstration. I have not tried it before. So lunch options probably. Let's see if I could get something. Okay. So I can see lunch delivery. So you can see this paratha house, and this complete meal is getting recommended to be when I say lunch. In India, we typically have a bread or rice in lunch with along with the lentil, dal, and all. So I'm getting proper recommendation. That means the prototype is working very well. And if I say for the breakfast, I would get this cookies, dosa, and see poha. So this comes in breakfast. So I'm getting perfect recommendations based on the snack type and cuisine types as well. That's why this is very important that would a food lover find this useful. Next is development progress review. That is this test enough to ship? Now, you always see why do we have rating systems? Why we have review? Why everyone asks us to give us feedback? What are feedbacks for? Feedbacks are for the improvement. Feedbacks are the metrics to evaluate. So in this, you can see the ratings are given 4.2 out of 5, 4.4 out of 5. This means these are some top rated restaurants or cafes in Pune, and I'll probably try to look for top rated because I'll trust my fellow friends that have voted this up, so that I can definitely trust on the quality because I have not been there before personally. But I want to eat from that. How will I choose? I'll choose from the ratings. And that's why the feedback is very important. Suppose we have a recommender system that repeatedly gives same dish for paneer. Now let us just try here paneer. I just wanted to check because we have a lot of variety of paneer. Paneer butter masala is quite common, but now I get let's see, we have a cuisines option as well to apply. So the recommender system is very good. Now I'll just go for the restaurant, and now I have paneer tikka. So I get the restaurants that are having paneer sabji or paneer curry and the options. But I would like to have all varieties of paneer to show first rather than the hotels. So I could recommend this to my DS team that please improve this feature. This is all hypothetical with respect to the explanation for the lecture, but I would like Zomato to have this feature for myself or for the rest of the people after we have done the survey. So that's why that feature needs to get implemented. So we should have before versus after comparison and focus less on development talk that I developed this, I use this algorithm, I reduce the complexity. These are all equally important stuff, but what matters is user journey. Because as a user, if I want paneer sabzi or paneer curry to be recommended here, then probably I would like to have that on top rather than explaining me about the collaborative filtering and content filtering. That's why the journey should go from frustration to satisfaction. Next is MVP review. That does this pass the hunger test? So MVP for the weekend peaks is ready. So internally we have a QA, that is quality assurance and latency checks. So for example, let us try this as well. I'll have this delivery option and I would check for a random day. Let's say Tuesday special. If I could get, so I'm not getting Tuesday special, but we are getting some festive special. So let's say for this and for the festival, we have the specific food that is being served in that festival, and that is getting recommended. So this is an excellent feature, and that's why the MVP is working well. So as an internal team, I'll pass this test. So now it's time for the user acceptance testing. We'll have some bunch of people to try our app and give us unbiased opinion. not too generous feedback, not too biased feedbacks, but we'll try to gather the ratings and will provide the actual current trends. So, like you might ask how that comes. So, in the main website, let's go to the main website. You can see in this when website, when I go for the Zomato, I could see top trending spots. How this trending is decided. Either people are visiting there and giving feedback on Zomato, or people are ordering food and consistently rating it above 4. As we can see, it's 4.4, 4.4, 4.5, 4.5. So this is how the trending is decided. And that's how is based on the user feedback, unbiased feedback. And then we'll go for the feedback loop, that how to improve based on feedback. Are we getting too many paneer sabjis or curry on the recommendation? Or are we getting too many biryanis? So what we will try to do, we have been focusing on this from longer time. That is control A/B testing, that recommended by time, using and rating, and divide people into two group in different proportion and ask their opinion on this feature based recommendation. Take feedback. Suppose add some best filters that can be possible. So probably I like this filter very much. If you could say, I just search for poha again. Poha is my personal favorite. Let me know what is your favorite dish as well. So if I get this, I have this filter of pure veg. Okay. So now I get just pure veg restaurant. Now I have cuisines as well. So I don't know what to search for. Asian. I don't know. Yeah, I could still get some good restaurants on my list, provided obviously we have this Asian cuisine. I could have been more specific, but I thought let's try it. So this kind of options to filter is an excellent feature that comes with the feedback. This might not be the initial MVP feature, but that come across taking feedbacks. Now, small fast wins prioritize before global rollout. So we should try to launch a basic version. Then we should go for the actual global rollout. Next is pre-production review. We should ask question, did we deliver what we promised or did we oversell? Run through some test scenarios. Like if I am trying to order poha into pure veg. So, okay, these are all literally pure veg restaurant. There is no false result in this. It should not be the case where a non-veg selling restaurant is seen in vegetarian option and the vegetarian restaurant should be seen in the pure veg option as well. So let me know in the comments which would be the false negative and which would be the false positive case. Please let me know. Then we should check parity across the app website. We should check to see how the traffic is coming to our app, how traffic is coming to our website. Everything should be checked properly. So everyone should compare the original goals like to-do list, what was to be done and what was built. So this timeline showcases Zomato machine learning algorithm in a journey of building a personalized food recommender system. This highlights how communication first approach is very important and how team alignment, user feedback, and progressive validation at each stage is very important for successful release. Now, let us understand why it is very important to establish boundaries in machine learning experimentation. We'll take a case study of CRED company that hypothetically is new and wants to build a ML model for fraud detection. We'll see how experimentation limits can be applied here. Our first rule in this is like set boundaries early in the experiments. Don't try to boil the ocean before boiling 1 cup. Make 1 cup of tea. Don't at a time start making 100 cup of tea without asking if everyone wants tea. So, for example, if you want to detect a fraudulent card payment patterns, and you don't want to build a universal fraud engine. So what you can have some potential ideas that I'll check for some timing at 2 p.m., 3 p.m. Is it? No. You will try to check timings 2 a.m., 3 a.m. If a heavy transaction is done from some remote places that I would like to tag, I would like to see past history of some frauds and then want to predict the next fraud or find some pattern and then predict. But I don't want a normal user to get his payment block just because I myself have not worked on the problem statement better. And that's why it is very important to have a 10-day experimentation sprint where we'll just use a basic feature, that is time of transaction, device type, user history. Let us relate this with simple example. Suppose you want to regulate the surrounding of your home, house. You want to ensure that you are protected. So you'll probably install CCTV cameras. Okay, so CCTV camera with voice recording is enough, but you are extra cautious. You are using motion sensor doors. You are using alarms if someone is trying to enter from another part. Even if someone enters from balcony, which is at the back garden of your house, and if someone tries to enter from that, and he might be your brother itself playing, but it still rings the alarm just because he didn't come from the main door. This cases should not happen. So that's why you need to have a basic features. CCTV cameras with voice recording is enough to maintain or to secure your privacy in your home. Then balance accuracy with maintainability. Most accurate model will not be the best one. We have seen in our customer complaint example in lecture 2 or 3 where a decision tree was the best one to have in the as where decision tree was the better model than the transformers or CNN. We just wanted to check what was the reason behind customer file a complaint. So it could be asked, say simple yes no question. Was it a billing issue? Yes. Okay. No. If no, then was it related to the payment issue? Online payment or cash payment? Oh, it was online payment. Then it was via UPI or a net banking. So there's two options. Yes, no, yes, no. So this way, that was the best model rather than using the accurate model transformers or LLMs. So, in the CRED system, they tried a LSTM model for a time sequence detection. These are all hypothetical cases, but since we can more relate with the actual companies, that's why we are taking this example and explaining it. So, it's hard to debug, train, and scale. If MLOps teams couldn't understand how to maintain and how to train it, then it's a very difficult job. That's why you can use a simple feature. I just read a LinkedIn post that someone hired a senior AI engineer. He laughed at why are you using transformer for this problem statement, and then everyone was like, okay, we are using it. He just replaced that with random forest or XG boost, and the training cost reduced and accuracy just dropped by 1%, but the cost was saved. And that is how we need to take care that accurate models are not the best model, because we have to think about cost and time and resources. So this is the lesson to be learned, that if MLOps team can't understand or maintain, it's a future failure waiting for you to happen. That's why you should have a minimum features for a quick proof of concept. You should have a proper timeline, a limited basic timeline for your basic features. Then you should train your model and save results, but set a deadline for purging the test data. Then you should have an inference, that result of your trained model, and then you can generate a demo for internal review. So this is how you can design the experimentation phase in a limited manner, in tested manner, in a short time, yet covering basic features. So this is what the demo figure illustrates about. Now let us see what are some dangerous development traps. First is RDD, that is resume driven development. That is some build something to brag, not to ship. For example, I can use GANs for fake news detection. And yes, I can use for detection GAN and LLM and GAN. See, LLM GAN construct generative adversarial network through large language model for explainable fake news detection. On the same hand, we had a Udemy paper. What if I use the approach used in this Udemy paper, that is, we used this traditional ML models. As you can see, we have used traditional models, and in that we have used Lime for the explainability feature. What if we use traditional ML with explainable AI for the fake news detection rather than LLM and GANs, so that our training cost would be reduced and our model may not that accurately predict, but if I can bear some error, like okay, 97% accuracy, I'm getting 96% accuracy. If I'm okay with that, then I can use this approach over that approach. This was just a comparison, but this is how we have to think. Like someone if tried to build GAN to detect a fraud example, but in production it is not used because it is very hard to interpret. So what is to be used is use tried and tested methods, document early, and keep it practical. It's not that you develop a complex algorithm for winning award. No, you need to deploy it in real world. And for that, you need to have something that can be trained and tested easily and is practical at the same time. Next is chaos driven development. Just start building, we'll fix later. What if you have this brain tumor detection website? Let me check if I have some brain tumor detection website and this I have the Flask demo over, and I just try to run this and I just get which is the image having brain tumor and which is the image which don't have brain tumor. What if someone who doesn't have brain tumor is diagnosed with some with brain tumor and someone with brain tumor is claimed as not having a brain tumor? These cases are very hard to handle and it should not occur. It's not something that initially I'll just deploy it in production. Rather, if someone complains that I don't have brain tumor, how you say I have a brain tumor, then please improve your model. This way doesn't work. You need to take care of this. That's why you should prototype offline, test thoroughly, and simulate first before deploying anything into ML production. That's why you can't directly connect your model to production until and unless it is tested. Next is prayer driven development. Stack Overflow said this works. I think it's not Stack Overflow now, it's ChatGPT said this works. Because it was a time we were very much relied on a Stack Overflow, but now that shift has changed to the LLM models, that is ChatGPT and Copilot. So we just read some autoencoder blog for fraud detection. Okay, I got this detect fraud in real time. I got some this paper which I try to implement, or I get some libraries for that, and I just try to use it. But what happened is I missed some points which were written in the paper, or I didn't read document carefully. Because of that, many normal users who were trying to do a payment were flagged as doing fraud, and they couldn't complete the transaction. And this is a red flag for our company. So, what can be done is instead understand your data, test multiple approaches. Don't blindly trust code without validation. This all needs to be taken care. That's why you should not make hurry while deploying your model in ML without testing. So, what is the correct way? If all are this development trap, then what should I do? I should probably do the test driven and feature driven hybrid approach. This realistic hybrid approach works. And what are the question or quotes for this is like, what do we need? Let's build that. Nothing fancy, just simple prototype. Nothing fancy, just simple prototype that can be tested and deployed. So at CRED, What if they just implement some device fingerprint? That if I'm performing the transaction through my mobile, so I have this biometric, I'll just test it over. And if that is verified, then only the transaction will happen. We have a two-factor authentication, we have a OTP these days, but what if I added the biometric as well with that? And I just track the previous history through that card and I'll check whether the payments were legal or illegal. And accordingly, I'll tag it fraud or not fraud. If this is done, then I can use a mix of feature driven development and test driven development. And then I can deploy this model in production, and probably this will work. This is a simple, easy, maintainable, and tested approach. So, this is how we have to think. So, you can see this is some great dashboard that you can just refer to understand that how device fingerprint session velocity has maintained accuracy for the fraud analysis. This is just a hypothetical case. So, what we understand from here is ML success is about clarity, constraints, and communication. So, this is key for our ML project success, that is clarity, constraint, and communication. And don't forget why we built this. Now, let us summarize. I hope this was a very short and easy lecture to grasp. So, what we understand is first, have a communication first approach for a ML life cycle. Then, set practical boundaries in experimentation phase to limit your ML project. Then, avoid development traps that are resume driven, chaos driven, and prayer driven. Rather, instead, try test driven and feature driven. So, following these practices will help you to develop good product that is simple, maintainable, and business aligned. Now we'll go to the development phase. After this, and development phase will have a coding part. So this is now gonna get continued to the little theoretical part and then onwards the coding part. So I request you to follow this series now onwards very seriously, because you now have a good theoretical foundations, but now we'll build upon our practical foundations or practical knowledge. Thank you so much. If you have any suggestion, please let us know in the comments, or you can DM me through LinkedIn as well. And if you have any suggestions for the upcoming lecture plan, please write that down as well in the comments or DM us through LinkedIn. Thank you. See you in the next lecture.